Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Thursday, the 9th of April. All right, now as we limp into the Easter break, now the news, it's actually lost a bit of the sting, the fear. It's all gone towards the hope, the positive side of the recovery from the coronavirus. So all the news you're seeing, most of the currencies, actually I'll show you those in a second, but they are all holding their ground, right? It's like the virus versus all the stimulus, everything else is now sort of neutralized. And now we're waiting to see what happens from here. So this is where I think we can start to see better trading conditions. And as we look back to the currency pairs, you'll see that the forex pairs, the currencies themselves are the best trading instruments, right? A lot of the other instruments are way loose, like the equities and metals and etc. But the currency is pretty squared away now. Equities in the US yesterday, up 3.5%. Not a bad day, really. You got the European equities, well, the Asian equities, Japanese equities didn't do much, nor did the Chinese. Coming into Europe, we'll see how they fare as we go through the day there. Now, just having a look at the dollar index, right? It's just trading sideways, right? So through this trend line, this tells you that everything's pretty neutral. Okay, you've seen a bit of a the yuan sort of improved its ground as once again as the hopes of a peak in the coronavirus in China seems to be apparent. And then as we come across to the currencies, okay, you'll see that most of the pairs here, where's the button there? Okay, so you got most of the pairs. There hasn't been a hell of a lot going on through the Asian session. They're just sort of slowly climbing. Aussies slowly climbing, Kiwi slowly climbing. A little spike, euro now sideways, sterling picking itself off the floor, but not really going anywhere. And dollar CAD moving sideways through that trend line. So I've left these trend lines there just to show you exactly the extent of these moves. It hasn't been much at all. It's almost like the market's a little bit fatigued and happy to take the Easter break as it comes up. So that's where we are with the major pairs. Now, looking at that spectrum, okay, there's not a lot to really come back to, but if you come back to the daily trade routine, all right, yep, we're on that page. Okay, so just having a look at the market conditions, okay, for the currencies in particular, as I said, they're okay, if not pretty good. Now, one thing that we are missing now that everything's been factored in, the active pairs with very clear direction, okay, across multiple time frames, there really isn't any, okay? And everything is basically, we've got levels in a lot of pairs, but we don't really have very clear direction across hourly and daily trend lines for that matter, all right? But what we do have is they are all in play today as we do have a fundamental driver, and that's the initial jobless claims, right? This is a number in normal market conditions that we wouldn't pay much attention to, but it's a weekly count of obviously the jobless claims. It's the best instrument we have to measure the impact of the virus on the US. So once again, to me, really big blowout of the jobless numbers. It's a buy dollar situation. If we get really low numbers, jobless claims, then we're going to sell dollars, right? That's the way I sort of see it playing out. We've also got the Canadian employment numbers. Have a look at those, but dollar CAD's been caught between, what's happening with the dollar as far as a safe haven, and then also the oil prices. I didn't actually show you that, but I think OPEC have cut supply. It hasn't done a lot to the oil price at all. All right, that's pretty much where we are. So we've got a number of pairs here that potentially short term. When I look at the pairs that are on the watch list, okay, it doesn't mean that they're not tradable. Of course, they can be on especially on the economic numbers. But if you haven't got clear direction, you're probably looking at shorter term trading opportunities. All right. Now, we do have some reasonable trend lines, but especially on the Aussie. Once again, let me just come back over there. Aussie, Kiwi, even dollar yen for that matter, but we just don't have the key driver that's kicking these pairs along. Euro, it's now in a bit of no man's land, as is sterling. And you'd probably say the same for dollar CAD at this point. We'll see how those employment numbers play out. And that's pretty much it, guys. So not a hell of a lot to really sink your teeth into. Keep an eye on those equity markets. Once again, if I just actually, I meant to show you, just having a look what's going on with the treasuries. Okay, 30 years back up to 1368. This thing's been going up. Next day it's down here, up here, down there. It's a bit all over the place, but it does seem to be stabilising. The Fed will be watching that very closely. It's important that the bond market just doesn't fall apart. And that's pretty much it, guys. So as far as trading goes over the next few days, over the Easter break, there won't be any updates from the team here. I think some of the markets will be open. Usually they used to shut. I don't know what the protocol is these days, but just keep an eye out for those jobless claims. I think this is the best opportunity leading into Easter. After that, it's going to get a little bit loose, as I think you'll find most trading firms and traders in general taking a well-earned break. All right, we'll be back on Tuesday with some more updates, and we'll see how we go through that period. All right, guys, all the best. Have a happy Easter if we don't hear from you, and good luck trading. Cheerio.